Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak about a difference that shapes destinies more than talent, luck, or education, the difference in mindset between the rich and the poor. It begins with control. The rich understand that life does not yield to complaint or regret. They focus on what they can influence, their actions, their choices, their learning. The poor, on the other hand, fixate on what they cannot change, wasting energy on envy, blame, and excuses. Power lies in action, not in wishing circumstances were different. Next comes vision. Those who build wealth think in years, decades, even generations. They understand that true progress requires patience, sacrifice, and planning. The poor often choose comfort today, exchanging a brighter tomorrow for fleeting satisfaction. Growth requires foresight, and time is the greatest ally of those who are willing to wait. Wealth begins in the mind, not in the bank, and the first step toward it is understanding the power of control. Every human being faces circumstances beyond their influence, unexpected events, the actions of others, societal changes, and random misfortunes. Yet, the difference between those who build lasting wealth and those who remain trapped in struggle lies in where they place their focus. The rich recognize that their energy is finite, and to waste it on things they cannot change is to guarantee frustration and stagnation. They do not wait for luck or favorable conditions. They act within the sphere of what is theirs to govern. Their actions, their decisions, their habits, and their willingness to learn become the tools through which they shape their reality. When a challenge arises, they examine it for the lessons it contains and for the steps they can take to overcome it, rather than asking why the world is unfair or why others succeed while they stumble. Poor thinkers, by contrast, surrender the most important battles before they even begin. They measure their lives against circumstances that are outside their hands and spend energy lamenting injustices, envying others, or wishing for a different fate. This focus on the uncontrollable creates a mind trapped in despair and dependence. Every misstep of others, every failure of circumstance, every random setback becomes proof that the world is against them, and they grow paralyzed, waiting for conditions to become perfect before taking action. Meanwhile, those who choose control move forward even when conditions are harsh, because they understand that power resides not in circumstances but in the decisions made in response to them. To focus on control is to take full ownership of life. It requires looking inward and recognizing that the only true leverage one has is over oneself, over choices, effort, discipline, and persistence. Wealth, in thought and in life, begins when a person stops blaming the uncontrollable and starts mastering the controllable. The rich do not see setbacks as signs of failure. They see them as feedback. They adjust, they persist, and they keep building, even when the world seems indifferent. Every action is deliberate, every decision purposeful, every habit refined to support long-term goals. Their minds are laboratories of experimentation where failure is data, not disaster. This principle extends beyond money. Relationships, health, knowledge, and opportunity all respond to the same focus. Those who dwell on external randomness grow reactive and weak, while those who concentrate on their own actions grow resilient and capable. Wealth is therefore not only a matter of accumulation but a reflection of mastery over what is within reach, the mind, the choices, and the effort. By shifting attention from what cannot be controlled to what can, a person begins to see paths that others miss, possibilities that others ignore, and opportunities that are invisible to those whose eyes are fixed on fortune and fate rather than on themselves. The difference between short-term satisfaction and long-term success lies in the ability to see beyond the immediate moment and make decisions that serve the future rather than merely appease the present. Those who build wealth understand that true abundance is rarely found in fleeting pleasures. They recognize that every choice made today carries consequences for tomorrow, and they willingly delay gratification, investing time, effort, and resources into pursuits that will yield enduring rewards. This vision is not merely about money. It is about developing skills, building relationships, and cultivating habits that compound over time. Each deliberate action is a seed planted for a harvest that may not be visible immediately, yet the patient investor understands that the most meaningful outcomes rarely emerge overnight. While others chase the comfort of instant pleasure, they are willing to endure discomfort, discipline themselves, and make sacrifices in the present to ensure that their future is secure, abundant, and meaningful. Those without this mindset often allow their desires to dictate their actions, seeking comfort and relief in the moment without considering the cost to tomorrow. The allure of immediate satisfaction is strong. It is easy to buy what feels good now, to choose ease over effort, to prioritize entertainment over education and indulgence over investment. Yet these choices, repeated over time, accumulate into a life constrained by short-term thinking. The poor often find themselves trapped in cycles of fleeting highs and enduring lows, never pausing to consider how today's decisions shape the landscape of tomorrow. They mistake temporary relief for real progress, unaware that the security, freedom, and influence they desire require patience, foresight, and consistent effort over the long haul. Long-term vision requires clarity, discipline, and a willingness to stand apart from the crowd. It demands resisting the pressures of society that encourage consumption, distraction, and instant validation. Wealthy thinkers understand that the rewards of patience far outweigh the fleeting comforts of the present, and they act accordingly. They create systems in their lives that support growth, whether through disciplined financial planning, consistent learning, or strategic investments of time and energy. They understand that wealth, material, intellectual, or spiritual, is not the product of luck but of choices compounded over years, sometimes decades. Every action is measured against its potential to move them closer to a long-term goal, rather than merely satisfy an immediate desire. This ability to see the future and defer gratification also builds resilience. When challenges arise, those with vision are able to endure hardship because they recognize it as temporary, a necessary step toward a greater outcome. They are not swayed by discomfort or distracted by the fleeting appeals of ease. Instead, they stay the course, guided by an inner understanding that lasting rewards require consistent effort, sacrifice, and patience. Through this lens, life itself becomes an investment, each day an opportunity to add value to the future rather than simply consume the present. The path to success is never smooth, yet those who cultivate wealth and influence understand that failure is not an enemy but a teacher. Rich minds perceive challenges and setbacks as opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow, rather than as signals that the world is against them. Every mistake, every misstep, every unexpected obstacle carries with it a lesson that, when understood and applied, strengthens character and sharpens judgment. They do not fear failure. They anticipate it as part of the journey. This perspective allows them to approach life with courage and persistence, knowing that resilience, the ability to endure hardship and rise again, is far more valuable than a life free of mistakes. Wealth, in its broadest sense, is born from this mindset. The capacity to confront difficulty, absorb its lessons, and convert it into momentum for future success. Those who lack this resilience, by contrast, see failure as a verdict rather than a lesson. They blame others for their circumstances, pointing fingers at society, luck, or the actions of those around them, and in doing so, they surrender their power to the external world. By refusing to take responsibility, they remain trapped in helplessness, their potential diminished by the belief that they are not in control of their own lives. Every setback becomes justification for inaction, every challenge a reason to give up, and every failure a confirmation of inadequacy. This mindset builds a cycle of dependency and complaint, in which growth is stunted and opportunity is missed. To accept responsibility is to reclaim power. It is to recognize that while we cannot control every event, we can control our response to it. Rich minds do not wait for external circumstances to be favorable. They respond to what is within their influence with decisiveness and integrity. When faced with difficulty, they ask themselves, what can I do to improve, to adapt, to move forward? Rather than, why is this happening to me? This subtle shift in perspective transforms obstacles into stepping stones. It fosters independence, courage, and the understanding that mastery of life begins with mastery of the self. Resilience is also a matter of consistency and persistence. The wealthy and successful do not abandon their goals because progress is slow or results are not immediate. They understand that life's greatest rewards are seldom instant and that enduring temporary pain or discomfort is necessary for lasting gain. Every failure endured with reflection and courage adds a layer of strength, wisdom, and experience that cannot be purchased or inherited. They use setbacks as data, refining strategies, improving skills, and reinforcing discipline, while those who refuse responsibility stagnate, their potential unrealized, their energy wasted on complaints rather than action. Ultimately, the difference between the resilient and the helpless is a matter of mindset. One sees challenges as lessons and takes responsibility. The other sees challenges as obstacles and places blame. Those who embrace accountability and cultivate resilience do not merely survive adversity. They transform it into a source of strength, creating a life defined not by circumstance, but by the consistent application of effort, reflection, and perseverance. True wealth is not measured solely by the money in one's account or the possessions one accumulates, but by the ability to create value in the world, for oneself, for others, and for the future. The minds of the wealthy are oriented toward contribution. They recognize that abundance is the natural result of providing value, whether through ideas, services, solutions, or opportunities. Every act of creation, every effort to improve, innovate, or uplift others compounds over time, generating returns that go far beyond immediate profit. Those who understand this principle prioritize initiative and action over passive expectation. They look for ways to solve problems, to serve needs, and to enhance the lives of those around them, knowing that when value is produced, wealth, material, social, and intellectual, follows. This mindset transforms work from a burdensome obligation into a purposeful pursuit, a force for impact that reaches beyond the self. In contrast, those who adopt a consumer-first mentality are trapped in a reactive cycle. They seek to satisfy their own desires before contributing meaningfully, hoping that reward will appear without effort or creativity. They measure life by what they can take rather than what they can give, and in doing so, they limit both their opportunities and their growth. Waiting for rewards without offering value is a gamble with low probability, dependent on luck, circumstance, or the generosity of others. It fosters dependency, entitlement, and stagnation, keeping potential locked behind expectation rather than action. Whereas wealth is built on initiative, consumption-first thinking is rooted in passivity, ensuring that dreams remain unfulfilled and opportunities slip away unnoticed. Creating value requires vision, effort, and courage. It demands seeing beyond oneself, identifying unmet needs, and stepping forward when others hesitate. The rich understand that contribution creates leverage, influence, and compounding rewards. Every idea implemented, every skill mastered, every problem solved is a step toward sustainable abundance. They invest their time, energy, and resources not in mere accumulation but in building systems, networks, and knowledge that generate lasting impact. Their mindset is proactive. They ask, "What can I offer?" rather than, "What can I take?" This subtle but profound shift transforms life into a series of opportunities to expand, to innovate, and to leave a lasting mark, while simultaneously generating wealth in multiple dimensions. Moreover, creating value cultivates resilience and independence. When a person focuses on contribution rather than consumption, they become less dependent on external circumstances and more capable of shaping their own reality. They develop skills, earn respect, and build influence, all of which become tools for future success. In contrast, a consumption-focused mindset leaves a person vulnerable, reliant on the generosity, choices, and conditions controlled by others, limiting both freedom and opportunity. The power of initiative lies not only in the wealth it generates but in the autonomy it fosters, the confidence it builds, and the legacy it creates. Ultimately, the creation of value is the engine of abundance. Those who understand this principle harness their talents, energy, and time to produce something meaningful, and in doing so, they generate a life of opportunity, growth, and impact that consumption alone can never achieve.